Hello, everybody. We're back. We're round two, halfway there, and another half to go. So if you were with us, I hope you've got literally a mug of tea, a sandwich for the second half, because we ain't moving, well, for me, till 9 p.m. So literally, we're back at it. This is the Sports Development and Peace Online Summit. Our goals are to educate people, upskill during their time at home, but also bring the sports industry together. So this is what this event's all about. And I've got Thomas here. Very shortly, he's going to introduce himself and what he does in the sports industry. But if you have any questions, we've got a few people joining us live now. Just put question in the comment section, and we want to bring your questions on board. We want to make this as engaging as possible. And Thomas, let's rock and roll. Who are you, my man? And could you explain to listeners what you do, what you specialize in, and a little snapshot of your sports career journey?
Of course. Happy to do so. And it's fantastic to be here on the show with you, and hello to everybody out there. It's great to connect in this way, in this unprecedented situation, I believe, for all of us. So really great that you're hosting this event for us. Well, I'm Thomas. I'm one of the co-founders of Common Goal. Common Goal is a movement started by football players that are looking to make a difference and connecting their on the pitch performance to actually contributing to another side of football, which is the social dimension of football. So we're working with a global network of community organizations across the globe that are using football as a tool for social change and to drive social development in their communities. And with Common Goal, we're really trying to build the bridge between professional football and this world where football is essentially saving lives. And the way we do it is through a 1% pledge mechanism. So players, but also managers, and we have even a professional football club pledging 1% of their income to support this side of football. And that's mainly the journey that we're on, the journey that I personally started a couple of years ago in 2017, together with Juan Mata and Street Football World, the organization that launched the Common Goal movement. And now we're looking to make our next steps towards making it a standard and giving back and social purpose part of the DNA and business model of football. So that's what we're all about in a nutshell.
I find that really interesting, just with regards to your own self-development, being involved in these projects and being with other footballers. What have you learned through that journey out of interest? I find it fascinating.
Yeah, well, I think it's a very diverse set of people you're getting to know on this journey. You're speaking to football players, to agents, to club executives, to people in nonprofit organizations, to beneficiaries of these projects. And I think you learn a lot about people and intercultural skill sets, communication and empathy, which is a really core skill for me in terms of building relationships and building connection that makes something like Common Goal possible in the first place. On our player squad, it's now 150 players almost from around 40 countries. So there's a huge diversity, and it's about always finding that element of connection and the universal side of us and the humanity in everyone, and to connect on that. I think we all share a set of values. But it's about more than that. It's about translating that into action and enabling that on a day-to-day basis. And I think this is now more relevant than ever in the current times. It's the time where we need to show solidarity, and hopefully we can, in 10, 20 years, looking back on the current moment, look back with the sentiment that, this has been truly the moment where we showed the biggest solidarity and the biggest team spirit, because it's needed. And it's not just needed in times of Corona. It's also needed to overcome it and tackle many other challenges that we have in the world, from climate change to gender inequality to other topics. So in that regard, we can hopefully come out of this situation stronger and learn from it as society.
I've just seen this comment come through. So we've got some people who know what you do. And just on that humanity side, I think this is really important for people who want to pursue a career in the sports industry. With, let's say, the athletes, we see them with their sort of image in their sport. Like, what have you learned when communicating with an athlete, that they've got their trade being a footballer, but they also want to be treated as, shall we say, normal by giving back. I think this is really important because we just see them on the pitch, but with regards to business or giving back, I think this is a dimension. If people want to work in the sports industry or football industry, they've got to be very mindful that they are still human beings at the end of the day.
Yes, I think they are, and they themselves want to be treated like that. I think, I remember Juan always emphasizing that before I'm a footballer, I'm a human being. But it is also partially through, our media landscape and how kind of we communicate today that, we're creating these images of these godlike people. And at the end of the day, it's human beings like you and me, and they have the same issues, the same emotions, but it's not always so easy with the walls that are built around them to connect in a human and intimate conversation. But that's, I think, where we really learn to, once you have the opportunity to speak face to face, there's an element of connection, and ultimately we share the same set of values. I think many football players do. But it's making it easy for them to contribute, easy for them to take action and to act on these values. And I think that's the transfer that needs to happen more and more in order to cope with the current situation and beyond.
And it's not just footballers. We've just had earlier Sabrina Buljabasic, who's part of Common Goal as well with some of your projects. So who's CEO of FK Sarajevo. So it's the same sort of thing, everybody, with the communication. They are just people. It's just being mindful of what the work they do and how you want to add value in the work. And just with regards to Common Goal as a bigger picture now, how have you seen visually your projects impact people's lives? I'm just really intrigued on that.
Well, just to give one example, I just past summer, I had the pleasure and opportunity to travel with Serge Gnabry to the Ivory Coast. He is a German national team player, but his father he immigrated from the Ivory Coast to Germany, and we went to see a project there. And there the big issue is HIV/AIDS education, and how do we get people engaged with that topic and kind of get rid of the stigma around it. And football is just a very powerful tool when it comes to engaging people through their passion. Allow them to be themselves, and then you kind of playfully connect that with informal education and actions such as, I'm tested for HIV/AIDS. I know my status. I know then how to deal with that. So that's probably just one example of how it works in Africa. But then you have across the world, you have all kinds of social issues that are being addressed. You have in Israel a situation that looks to kind of more strengthening peace building efforts and build connections between Israelis and Palestinians. And in other worlds, it's about tackling youth unemployment in the UK. So there's different social outcomes, and football is really just a tool for them. It's really not about developing, the next Lionel Messi or Marcus Rashford, even though that might happen in some occasions. But it's about merging football and education. In that sense, football provides a diverse platform to tackle these issues locally, but then it also is a very powerful mobilizing force. And that's kind of the level on which we're playing with Common Goal, and where we complement with the community organizations on the ground, where football is locally a catalyst for social transformation, but it's also a mobilizing force, and it can bring in people to engage with social topics that otherwise wouldn't engage. And I think bringing these two components together is ultimately how football can make its biggest contribution to society, to really think about how we can leverage this unique strength that football has in terms of being a universal language, probably the most universal language across the world.
Absolutely. Just on that point you just mentioned, today's International Day for Sport Development and Peace. Now, in a time where there is no sport being televised or broadcast, how important is it to now be a bit more mindful that we should take sport development and peace a lot more seriously to our sort of global environment, out of interest?
Yes, I mean, I think first of all, sport in itself is a great educator, and what it teaches you as a human being, the values of it. And I think in this time where everybody's staying at home, we need to look at, how is everybody, keeping active and staying healthy, and not only contribute or not only embedded in kind of the participants of a non-profit organization, but it's now something that concerns all of us. So in that sense, in the current time, sport and development and what it does is kind of amplified and even more of a topic to all of us, because we have to make a more active effort and a more deliberate effort to stay fit and stay healthy and stay educated at this time.
And just on that point, because we're all at home, the one theme we've got with regards to this summit is all about upskilling. Like, how can we use education with our own self-development? Out of interest, what is one skill set that has supported you throughout your sort of sports career in the football industry, out of interest?
Sure, I don't know if it's a skill, but I would say curiosity, to stay curious, to be curious as a habit almost, and to have different influences that come at you, whether it's diverse circle of friends or people you're speaking to, or reading something that's completely out of a different kind of discipline. I think that's the thing that really gives you new inspiration and input that you can then often transfer in one way or another to your work and integrate it into your your life as a professional. I think today, especially as an entrepreneur, you're facing so many challenges and the need to change constantly. So you can learn a great deal from having a broad perspective and learning from different people and industries.
Just on that note, because it's all about taking that next step, what is that first step to be more curious, out of interest?
I think is a lot about seeking the conversations, especially in person, conversations and exchange. It's actually quite surprising. I find the current situation of the lockdown, it gives you sometimes an opportunity to have conversations you otherwise wouldn't have, or it's a moment where people reflect a little bit deeper than they otherwise would. And so it's an opportunity to actually use this very time to think about and get back in touch with somebody, or establish a new dialogue, a new exchange with somebody who you may have never been speaking to about, or address a certain topic that you haven't addressed for a long time. Like, use the time that you have at hand. We all have a little bit more of it now, and make it part of your personal development.
Absolutely. And with regards to moving forward, out of interest, where do you want to see change with regards to when sport gets back up and running, out of interest?
Yes, I think it's being able to hopefully translate the solidarity that we now wish to see into something that's more systemic and something that's here to stay. So if we can come out of this crisis situation with a mentality of solidarity and making a contribution and giving back something that's related to success more than it has been before, then I think this would be a huge success and something that we should be striving towards.
And out of interest, how has Common Goal as like an organization pivoted during this time, or adjusted? Yes. However you word it, but you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I mean, on the one hand, it's recognizing that the organizations we work with in our global network, they're adapting to the crisis. And one of the things that we did immediately and launching, and there's the opportunity to donate to that effort here as well, is the Common Goal Coronavirus Response Fund, which is really supporting organizations, specifically in more the deprived areas of the world and in the developing world, where ultimately the virus is expected to have the biggest impact, and also looking beyond the immediate impact. And there's secondary effects related to education disruption and mental health issues, hunger and poverty. So these things also need to be addressed. And I think these community organizations are uniquely positioned to provide that last mile service to people in need. So we want to help them as much as possible. That's why we've created the Coronavirus Response Fund. Everybody can donate to it. And beyond that, but I don't want to give away too much, we'll be also launching a new series of live matches with professional football players and other people that are, voices now in this time, experts, so that the world of football is still using the 90 minutes, but not on the pitch as they used to, but in a digital format that we will launch later on this week with some of the players that we have on the Common Goal squad.
Awesome. Well, we're super grateful for this event. Down below, guys, is the link to that response fund that Common Goal have done. Like literally last week, it was all coming together. So we're super grateful to have you as a social impact partner. And this is what it's all about, educating and adding value and actually giving back to the place that need it. And just from a organization point of view of coping at home, like we've got a lot of parents who this isn't on LinkedIn, so we're a bit more laid back with our clothes and stuff. But how have you coped by working at home, and what tips would you give to people who are working at home from a digital standpoint?
Sure. I think it's important to take small breaks every once in a while. There's to avoid the over detoxification of digital communication and just take the breaks. We are happily, we can still go outside here in Germany. The situation, we are still allowed to go for a run, go for a walk, and now the sun is out. So I'm going to do that later on today, and that's what I recommend to everyone, to take short breaks, to do your exercise, to eat healthy, and then we can overcome this crisis.
And just from a teamwork perspective, have you just gone 100% online now out of interest? Like, are you using like technical tools like Zoom to build that engagement within the team? Like this summit, we've had to do everything on WhatsApp, and it's been good, but for a lot of companies, it's been that hard shift. So I just wanted a little insight on that out of interest.
Yeah, all of our team is working from home, so we are all digitally connected. I suppose, like you guys and like so many other people, I think we can be grateful that these technologies exist and that we're able to work and collaborate in that way. But it's obviously it's an unusual situation for many, and it's new to us. What we are creating for our team actually is still sort of social gatherings. So every 2 weeks or so, we're meeting with our entire team of Street Football or Common Goal, about 35 people, all on a chat, and it's just sharing with each other, how you're doing, what's going on, and so that it's still visible that you're together as a group. You're still an organization, even though you don't see yourself, every day in the office as you used to.
That's awesome to hear. And look, this is what this event's about. It's just to give you new ideas. Like we're going to be doing a hangout for the team after this event, probably not this evening, being up at 4:30, but it's important to have the social element. Out of interest, how can people interact with you, Thomas, online, and also with regards to Common Goal in general?
Sure. So on the one side, we already spoke about what we are currently doing in terms of the Corona response with the fund. There will be the opportunity to engage in live matches that we launching on the digital channels of the players, but this will also be visible on Common Goal's digital channels. So follow us on social media, and beyond that, we're updating on everything that's happening currently on our website, on social, and that's the best way to stay connected. But we also want to go into the exchange with people out there, and that's exactly why this week we're launching this new format of the live matches, and it's a bit of a field of experimentation, but we're really excited about it because it allows for an interaction with people at the forefront of fighting now the coronavirus pandemic, and to give different perspectives from people in this current situation, all rooted in sport, but very much connected to the rest of society.
Absolutely. And look, on that note, everybody, look, if you've got any questions after this event, because I think what you're doing and the other projects you've nicely hinted is going to be coming out soon, feel free to put a comment down below, and we'll find a way where you can connect with Thomas at Common Goal. And most importantly, share your biggest learning lesson. I think this is really important with regards to this summit. It's all about sharing. It's all about educating, and just comment below with Spirit of Sport on Twitter as well. And look, Thomas, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you involved with this event. And look, let's keep up the great work you're doing. And thank you very much.
Thank you guys and all the best. Cheers.
Awesome. Take care.